Hey, Jonathan, can you hear me?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, I can.
Oh, that's okay. Did you hear about Brooks?
No.
So Brooks, who works at the Argo, not my child, but the Brooks that is employed at Argo. Do you know him?
I just met him yesterday.
Yeah, I just met him yesterday too, but I've heard about him because he's got the same name as my kiddo. But he was killed in an auto accident last night at about
Oh, no.
2:30. Yeah. So he had a passenger with him, and we don't know anything else about that other person. But I think Brooks is from Evergreen, and he was one of the better employees for the Argo.
He gave
So
us a tour yesterday, and it was the best tour of the Argo I've ever had.
really,
That is
yeah,
really terrible.
I know, I know. That's why Dad is not on the meetings today. So I didn't know if you knew him or um, I don't know. I don't know anybody else who knows him. Andy, you heard, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to blur my background and this mess, but it's not happening. So does anyone know how to blur the background? Alyssa, do you
If you
know?
go,
Yeah, if you go into your settings, if you click like the bottom left, that arrow next to start video,
Okay, let me see.
and it's under video settings, I believe.
Okay, all right. Oh, that's one I didn't choose. I think I did background or filter. Let me see. Okay, so I see mirror.
And then, so you're gonna see a list on the left where it says like general, video, audio, share screen, click background and filters.
Okay,
And then, you know what? I don't see it. Tim does it all the time. Maybe Tim can tell you.
oh, okay.
Click on right
There's-
on the little next to the video and then choose virtual background, and then virtual background will come up and it says blur none. And then I have a bunch of favorites like, that one.
All I have is none.
Yeah, I don't see blur on mine either.
I only have none.
You guys might want to upgrade yours.
Well, of course. I think I have to upgrade probably most things on this computer. Okay.
There's fun filters. I can put a mask on. Ooh, that's a good one.
Looking good, Alyssa.
Thank
I like that. Yes. Oh, thank you anyway, Tim.
Sure. Glad I couldn't be helpful.
Prancer. Is Mayor Mike on? Not yet.
I am. Here I am.
There he is.
How's everybody?
Hi, Mayor Mike.
Good. Let's go ahead and get started because I know everybody's busy. Thanks everybody for being on. We didn't have a call last week, so let's start out as we always do. Dr. Ryan, give us some updates. Tell us what's going on.
Thanks, Mike. Hello, everyone. It's been a while. Things have gone from bad to worse, I guess, is one way to put it. So in this country, we have seen a 66% jump in cases last week over the prior week. and 145% jump from the prior week, 2 weeks prior. So definitely headed in the wrong direction. Nationally, as you are probably well aware, we are at less than 50% of those 12 and above who are fully vaccinated. Here in Colorado, slightly better than that, but cases are going up in all 50 states across the country. Another fun statistic, 97% of new hospitalizations are among the unvaccinated. So vaccination efforts continue both across the country, across the state, and in our county, we are now at 63.4% of our 12 and above are fully vaccinated in Clear Creek County. We have 3 cases last week. Our test positivity rate is at 7.2%. It's the Delta variant, the one I've been talking about for weeks. It has come home to roost. It is now spreading like wildfire among the unvaccinated, regardless of what type of medicine you practice. If you are unvaccinated, it is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when you will get COVID. And Delta is showing that it is far more problematic from a symptoms perspective, putting lots more people in the hospital. Any questions so far? Sorry, I'm in my tranquility room. We came across the question this morning, can I, as a business, can I require that my employees show me proof of vaccination? The answer is absolutely, 100%. You can ask not only your employees if they're vaccinated, but you can require proof. That is not a HIPAA violation, is not a violation of anything. It is, if it is deemed in the best interest of your business, i.e. you want to know which staff need to wear a mask and which don't, you can 100% ask that question. If somebody refuses to answer whether they're vaccinated or not, 99,000 out of a million times they are unvaccinated if someone is unwilling to answer that basic question. I haven't met anyone yet who's vaccinated who doesn't want to happily present that information. So as a business owner, you can in fact ask, and you can in fact demand proof that they show you they're vaccinated. Public health can provide any employee of yours that proof if needed. If they lost their card, their CDC card, et cetera, we can provide them a state CDPHE printout of their entire vaccination record for their use. So that should not be a reason or rationale why they can't show you because they don't have one or whatnot. Any question about that? Andrew?
What is the best way for someone to request that duplicate copy or that report?
Give our nursing staff a call, and they can either print it out, you can stop by and pick it up, or they could send you a PDF. It really depends on, you can't as an employer request it of them, the state of our nurses, but an individual can get their own and then provide that to the employer easy enough. So give our nurses a call and they'd be happy to print that out.
Thank you.
We will continue to offer testing every Tuesday at our new site as of a few weeks ago between the old football field and the bus barn in Idaho Springs from 10 to 2 every Tuesday. We're also having vaccine clinics and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future on Wednesdays at the Resource Center from 10 to 2. And we'll continue to do that moving forward. So if you know anyone that needs a vaccine, send them our way. We will be happy to provide that. It's also readily available pretty much everywhere in this entire country. The Walmart and Safeway in Evergreen, as well as the Safeway in Idaho Springs, has vaccine as well. Sorry, I can't read the questions at the same time. Yes, Alyssa, if we want to share that in a moment, that'd be great. What's my most effective area for people who still decline vaccination? Self-preservation, if that's of interest, I start there. As I've been saying for too many months now, the level of misinformation out there is absolutely staggering and mind-blowing. And people's appetite for it and consumption of it is equally as mind-boggling. Facebook and others that I'm not going to mention on here because I don't want to offend anybody, but news organizations is not a place to get your fact-based information, just for the record. Neither is Facebook, neither are any of those social media platforms. They are absolutely rampant with misinformation that it isn't even border on truth. It's absolute nonsense. So if you really want to understand why it is people are unvaccinated, just look at a couple of maps, overlay a couple different maps, and you'll see the reality of why that is. So it's very difficult to get through to that. We are continuing our efforts through letters to schools, for instance, and parents through schools, through the churches, through a number of different mediums trying to break through. But the reality is when you have somebody who's online consuming this hour after hour after hour, going down all the rabbit holes, a single letter or a single comment or a single anything from public health or anybody with authority, public health authority, barely makes a dent in their hours and hours of rabbit holes. And so it makes it very, very difficult to convince those who have been consuming that misinformation and really try to get through to them. So. Any other question? If not, Alyssa has done a great analysis of the folks that we have vaccinated in our community and is going to share that. It's a breakdown of a couple of things, including this map.
Hi, everyone. There's just a couple slides on this presentation that I gave to the BOCC last week. Really quick, total vaccines administered, and this was all as of June 28th. So it is a little bit old, but the data is not that old. As you'll see, there are third and fourth doses for Moderna and third doses for Pfizer. That is because there was a location in the state that was not keeping their vaccines at the correct temperature, so they had to re-vaccinate a lot of people. So I don't want to go through this whole thing. Just really quick by age, I know there's a lot of conversation about where the age gaps are. The green is based on population size. The blue is where we are with our current vaccine counts. So as you can see, we definitely have some work to do with our 12 to 54 population. And then lastly, this is by zip code. The only one is that's a little bit weird is Evergreen, just because the zip code passes county lines. But everywhere else, let me zoom in. Oh, I was trying to zoom into Idaho Springs. Sorry, it's a little blurry. So Idaho Springs is at 55.35% per the census.
Alyssa, is that 80452 unincorporated included in that?
It is, yeah. Yep. So it's by zip code. It's actually not by municipality. So there is an unincorporated included. So I'll just zoom out a little bit again. So Dumont's 43.8, I believe. Empire's 46.11. Silver Plume's 65.68. Georgetown's 59.95. And then Evergreen, I'm not even going to say the number because I don't think it's right. So yeah, that's what I got. I'm happy to send this out to anybody that's interested in looking at it a little bit more deeply.
So Dr. Ryan, I just want to ask, I know that you have somebody that does research every day on this. What would you expect to see 3 months from now? Do we risk that we could go back into a statewide or a countrywide mask mandate. I mean, do you think this could potentially happen?
Mike, let me put it to you this way. We have significant pockets in this country of completely unvaccinated, what we call naive individuals. Not they're naive, but naive to this, right? So we have systematically removed across the entire country all public health measures, mask mandates, social distancing, restrictions at restaurants and every other business. And so those individuals right now are completely unprotected. And the Delta variant, as we've discussed in past, is 60% more transmissible than the UK variant, which is 40% more transmissible than the original recipe, if you will. So what's going to happen is this Delta variant is going to continue to find those very large swaths of individuals who are completely unvaccinated and unprotected. In many parts, those are rural areas that do not have any medical infrastructure to speak of. And so they're going to begin to inundate, and we've seen this in states like Missouri as an example. They're going to begin to inundate the more urban settings in the hospital systems that they have nearby. I don't know if it's going to get to the level. I know most politicians and are unwilling and unwanting to go back. Most have moved on and think the pandemic is over. The reality is what you're seeing, a significant jump in cases, a significant jump in hospitalizations, and what comes after that is a significant jump in deaths. Unless that 51% of Americans begin to consume fact-based information and get vaccinated, we are going to continue on this potentially slow and relatively increasing churn of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. To date, we've lost almost 610,000 Americans to this. And believe it or not, there are many Americans who continue to believe that this pandemic is made up. Mind-boggling, but there are a significant number of people who believe that. So if that's your reality, that you don't believe there's a pandemic happening and you don't believe that there are things that could potentially hurt you, that makes for a very difficult time in public health and to try to address it in a meaningful way. So the short answer is the probability is high of what you just described. I don't know if the politicians are going to reinstate mask mandates across the country or in specific states or areas. But the reality is cases are going to continue, hospitalizations and subsequently deaths, unfortunately. I don't really see a huge turn in the right direction at this point in time, given the rhetoric that's out there and given what is generally consumed on a daily basis by 51% of our population in this country. That's the unfortunate reality. Another unfortunate reality is this, and I said this a year ago, the longer that we allow this to continue, meaning cases increasing, hospitalizations, the more time that this virus has to mutate and create another variant that is not alpha or beta or delta or gamma or any other, but one that is no longer susceptible to the vaccines that we have. At that point, we start over. And the appetite for people to start over and continue on the path we were before is non-existent. Ironically, these are the same people who are not willing or able to do anything about what's happening. And they want this pandemic to be over, except it's not over because they refuse to get vaccinated and they refuse to do the right thing. I know I'm on a soapbox, but that's the unfortunate, untarnished reality of what we're facing in this country.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan. Okay, does anybody have any other questions for Dr. Ryan or for George or Alyssa to update?
One other update, sorry, Alyssa. We did implement as of this morning, the mask mandate for all unvaccinated staff. County staff are now required, mandated to wear the mask while at work. Unless they can provide proof of insurance or proof of vaccination, they need to wear a mask while at work. There are breakthrough cases, and you're going to hear about this, right? The more people that get vaccinated, the more likely, it's statistically the way it works, you're going to have breakthrough cases. So even if you are fully vaccinated, remember, even with the Pfizer and Moderna, there's still a 5 to 10% chance that you could get COVID. It is not 100% protective. Similarly, with Johnson & Johnson, it's even a higher risk as the efficacy is a little bit lower with that. So an unvaccinated person who is unmasked poses significant risk to even the vaccinated folks because they have the potential to be asymptomatic in spreading the Delta variant if you're there and even though you're vaccinated and you're unmasked in close proximity to these individuals, they pose a significant risk to you and increase the probability and likelihood that you will get COVID even as a vaccinated person.
That was what I was going to say. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Ryan, Liz and George for coming on these meetings to kind of keep us updated what's going on, not only within our county, but, country and worldwide, what's going on with this virus. So thanks again. All right, we'll shift gears a little bit. We're missing a couple of people, business owners that are usually here, but Mr. Chip is actually in Idaho Springs now. He's been here for a few weeks, and he can kind of give us a first hand idea of what Bojo's business has been like this last couple of weeks, and anything that you might see, Chip, that you think we should be thinking about moving out into the future.
Yeah, business is good, obviously. We're only partially open, lack of staffing and that, so it's hard to meet 2019 numbers, but in some cases we are. I think everybody's doing a great job. If we just had more people, more parking, more staffing, they're abundant. So we're doing as good as we can do, I think. I'm proud of everybody.
All right, thanks, Chip. Randy?
I'd mirror what Chip said, and that is that, there's plenty of customers up here, more customers than we have staff. So, the combination of just staff shortage and kind of off and on supply chain shortages are kind of raising their head. I don't know where they're going to show up next. I was down on a supply run last week and again this morning, and it's, lids for cold cups. Can't find them anywhere. So it kind of bounces around as to where those supply chain issues are showing up, but they are showing up. But as Chip said, staffing probably is the biggest issue.
All right, thanks, Randy. And for my end of town this weekend was just so busy and crazy. Again, just like everybody else, I'm short-staffed too. I'm trying to, I'm closing 2 days a week just so I don't burn out that staff I've got, and then I'll be closed 4 days a week because I just have to give them a rest. I drive downtown quite often, especially on the weekends, just to kind of see what's going on, and it is craziness. There are so many people, also people that don't really care about where they park, how they park, walking out in front of traffic. Yeah, it's just to the point that unfortunately I think it's getting borderline dangerous down there on the weekends, and most of that is caused by people not parking in designated parking spots where there's no stripes or anything. They're just parking out in no man's land, and then it tightens drive lanes down to one lane and nobody can get by. And we're still also having a problem with delivery trucks after 10 o'clock, especially on Friday, where they're parking by, in a parking lot where cars can't get by, and people are inside businesses, and they come out and they can't get their car out of there because the truck's in the way. So we continue to work on that.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, just before I forget, I wanted to throw in, because I ran into this when I was down the mountain last week, and just the sensitivity to everybody. We've got a lot of customers coming up. It's the pent-up demand. It's, whatever, clever ideas we can come up with, they are coming up the mountain. When I was down in Denver, I went to a delicatessen, which is really close to where I used to live in Lone Tree, and asked them how they were doing. I knew the owner because we'd lived down there for a long time. They're really still struggling because their business is driven by business people who go to the office every day. and get their lunch at the deli and take it back, etc. And he's still really struggling. So there's a lot of people even in this state based on, kind of where they are, who are clearly struggling. If his deli was up here, he'd be slamming business. So it's just a sensitivity for those of us who've seen a lot of people come up to Idaho Springs. There's still a lot of struggling down in Denver.
All right, thanks for that, Randy. Yeah, another thing, I'm sure that I don't know about Chip because he has kind of a different menu, but if you talk to the Main Street or Westbound or Tommy Knockers, we're struggling to get product. I mean, we go online, I do mine online, and there is no chicken product out there. You can't get wings. I can't get tenders. And other product. It's just it's getting hard. It's harder and harder to operate your business. It's one thing going through what we're going through, and then all of a sudden you can get the product that's on your menu. It runs into another problem. So, I just have to take my hat off to everybody and all the business owners and operators because you're holding in there and, we're all doing the best we can. And that says a lot for not only all of you, but for our community as well. Yeah. We're resilient and we'll get through it.
Yeah. Can I just add to something there? I mean, again, I'm amazed with some of the folks that we have in town. Everybody's doing really great, and that's just really helping everybody out. And getting products, or supply chains are totally broken. That's part of the anxiety that I think everybody has. We're having, challenges with guests that are like being very demanding. Why can't you seat us? You have an open table there. Well, we don't have anybody service it. So they tell the manager, well, you should service it then. It's just it just makes everything very stressful on everybody. I'm sure everybody is aware that, oh gosh, I can't think of the name now, brain cramp down at Spice and Tea. She got a real bad car accident this weekend. So,
yeah. Do you have an update on that, John? Do you know what's going on with Sadie?
Yeah, she was, as many of you know, I know there was a car accident this last week. She was hurt pretty bad, but she's okay. She's just kind of banged up at the moment. And so we're trying to get her to stay home so she can recuperate her body and everything. I think they've got the restaurant under control. And then I have told her I'd help with some of her marketplace duties that she's taken on. So we're just trying to make sure she's covered and has time to heal.
All right, thanks for that update. John just texted me or just put it into the chat. You think we can set up our own supply thing where we get a truck to bring up stuff for the restaurants? So I think it was Friday before Shamrock got to my place, they said they unloaded 375 cases at Tommy Knockers. So we would need an 18-wheeler to even start doing something like that.
No wonder Steve's not here. They're unloading.
Yeah, they're still probably unloading. Absolutely.
If we got George a trucker hat, maybe he'd drive it. That'd be a cool hat.
There you go. George would be with somebody that would do it too. So let's see. Any other? We don't have a couple of our normal folks on that we like to talk to. Carly, you want to give us a quick update about the playground? I know it's complete. When do they have that open for the general public? What's kind of the schedule on that?
Yeah, so they're supposed to be open from till dusk during the week, and then during the weekends, dusk to dawn. I don't know if last week that was the case, but that is supposed to be the case going forward. So if anybody finds that it's not open, let me know or let the school district know, because their promise was to keep it open after Kids Corner ends during the weekdays and then on the weekends from dusk to dawn.
Dusk to Dawn. Wasn't there a movie, Dusk to Dawn? Yeah. All right. Let's see, Danny, parking. You want to kind of give us an update, what's going on and what y'all are seeing on the weekends?
Yeah, sorry guys. If you can't hear me, I'm currently traveling, but no, very busy weekend overall. We've had great success pushing a lot of the overflow traffic to busting. So our ambassadors have been working really hard to get people stop, getting them stop circling town and getting them parked by pushing them out. But yeah, very, very great weekend overall.
Okay. All right. Very good. John, do we have anything else that we needed to talk about on this meeting?
Not really. I don't think.
Okay.
There's a
let's
big
just-
event this weekend. The Bob Cook Memorial is happening. So be prepared for that. There's also another special event down at the ball fields, the Christmas in July from the rec center.
Hey, John, what was that first event you mentioned?
The Bob Cook Memorial Bike Ride, it goes up Mount Evans.
Yeah.
They'll be taking off at about 4 a.m. and they're going to try to park down on 103 and stage out of that lot down there. But it's such a big event. I am sure there's going to be some spillover. So we're trying as much as we can to keep them out of the main lots, but
Hey, Mike, it's Carla. Do you happen to know anything about about Graham Construction? I saw this morning that it looked like they were moving some heavy equipment out of the yard for the old middle school.
Yep. So what I do know is they are starting to wind down the main line construction, the parking lot construction. They still have a large punch list to finish up before they're actually out of here. So you're probably going to start seeing them move some of their equipment and some of their presses over there at the 103 building. So I think that I believe it's either this week or next week that they will be start testing the toll lane. They have to get about 2 months worth of data, and I think that their ultimate hope is to have that thing open, by September, moving into the winter season. So hopefully that'll go through. And as everybody knows, and John, do you have that sales tax document right in front of you that you can share?
I don't have it. I'm sorry.
So I believe that I don't have my packet here. Andy, do you have that handy? The sales tax reports that we had in our packet last week? That you
Yes, I can get it if you give me a moment.
Okay. Because when I saw this is what I mean about the resiliency of our community and us doing the best we can. And our sales tax is up over 2019 by like $50,000 or $60,000. That's saying a lot, with us running, most of us running on, half to 3/4 staff, half our restaurant open. Chip, I know you've got close to 700 seats in your restaurant, and we're operating about half of that.
Yeah, a little bit better. We're about 650. We're a little better than half open. It makes it challenging, but I can't believe how well they're doing with limited capacity.
Yeah, and most of the people are understanding. We're still getting those people. We actually had somebody, a local, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but came in and demanded that he sat out on the porch. And we told him, sorry, but the porch is not open. He said, well, I always sat out there, and one of your waitresses doesn't mind waiting on me if I sit out there. And I explained to him, that's not the problem. If somebody comes up and you're sitting out on that porch, then anybody that comes up that wants to sit out there, I have to put out there. If 10 people come in and say, hey, we want to sit on the porch, and I say, well, it's not open, they're going to say, well, somebody's sitting out there. What do you mean it's not open? So I've had some of that. And, and we had another one my wife was waiting on. It was a 15 top. And, those that know the restaurant business, the order came in 15 minutes to get the food out to them at 1:30 in the afternoon, so that's pumping it out pretty quick, and they got mad. They said, this took too long. This is ridiculous. And it's like, I had to tell them, I said, I don't know if you know or not, but the whole world's short on help. We're doing the best we can. So we'll never come back. And my wife got just enough perturbed. She said, well, good. Thank you. Don't. You know, it's just, it gets to that point. It's just crazy. Andy, did you find it?
I don't have an electronic copy of the most recent report. I think that's what you're looking for, but Diane said she'd send it to me
Yeah,
shortly.
just tell us what, so this would be July, June, so May, oh, Georgia's got it. Look at that. So there was, so over, we're up even more than that, $62,000 from 2019. You know, I think that's incredible, you know, for us to still be pushing these kind of numbers, you know, with everything going on. So we should be very proud of ourselves. Okay, let's just open it up real quick for a roundtable. Anybody that has any thoughts or ideas or needing some information about anything that we may be able to give to you? All right. Another thing, we've had some events the last couple of weeks over at the Elks, and we will also have one on the 31st. That will be the alumni. They do it every year, and we're accommodating their parking over there. Don Allen's memorial service was Saturday, and what we're doing is just kind of in that area. We're just doing some light enforcement until the event's over with, and then we go back. And we've also offered up that if any of the folks that attended these events got a ticket, that we would take care of it. That's about all we can do. So we're really working with these things that are going on. So and it's worked out really really well. All right, anybody else? All right, very good. Again, thanks for being here for these meetings, kind of give an update and check in. I think we'll just continue to do the every other week unless we have something that is out there that we would really like to talk about. But for the most part, I think every other week right now is serving our purpose. So, okay. All right, George, you got anything for us going away?
Much of what you said, I'll just echo. It's an incredible summer. It's a hard business. It's an even harder business this summer, and our results speak for themselves, or your results speak for themselves. So congrats.
All right, thanks, George. Hey, and real quick, we had a conversation in our mayors and commissioners meeting, and just so everybody is kind of aware of how the progress of the health clinic's going, it looks like within the next couple of weeks that the resource center part of the health clinic, which is upstairs, will be ready to be starting to move in. So we'll start seeing the resource center starting to transfer over into the new clinic. That's coming up. And George, any word of a timeline where Centura, you think that they're trying and planning on having that build a suit bottom floor out so they can start moving?
I don't have any more recent updates than what you've heard, but just for the benefit of this group, they're looking to be opening in September and vacating the Jacob House or along those timelines. And Mike, I think we still have a lot of optimism that will give Idaho Springs time to get the building moved and get out of the way of the parking structure project.
All right. Thanks, George. Okay. I think that's all we have for today. Of course, anytime you need to talk to us, you got John, myself, Andy, just give us a ring, shoot us an email. And like I said, if something gets critical between now and our 2-week meeting, we'll reach out to you and we'll get together. So thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Mike.
Goodbye.